Welcome back to the Traders Network Show and our continued coverage of Humanity 2.0. I'm Matt Bird, broadcasting worldwide from the Vatican for Equities.com and its affiliate partners. My next guest is the Deputy Director of Digital Ethics Lab at the University of Oxford, Rosaria Taddeo. Is that correct?
Yeah, perfect.
Listen, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So, we've got a lot of stuff going on here at this event. We got a live event going on. We're covering it on another camera. We got full coverage going on every direction. We've had a lot of thought leaders. You come from traditional academia, and you're doing some amazing things on the ethics side, and I believe you're going to be on a panel later.
Later on, yes.
What is your takeaway so far, what's happening inside? Because there's a lot of amazing stuff that is happening. Tell us from your take.
So I work a lot on digital ethics, so ethical problems which have to do with technologies. You can think about privacy, social media, AI, cyber conflicts. And it's very nice to see that these topics, which were at the central part of my research for the very much 15 years, have now breached the bubble of academia, and they are like central to the world outside.
That must feel amazing to know that stuff you've been working on for so long is actually becoming mainstream application. It is.
It is amazing. You have to endure some kind of superficiality in it as well, because ethics has become like a kind of a buzzword, but it's important. The society is realizing that it's important.
Well, do you think there's a direct correlation between ethics and the transparency of self-publishing and the global community now that just won't let stuff kind of go where before it would be buried through other media? Now there's just so much micro-reporting. Do you think that has a part to do with it, where people are now accountable? You can't say something and retract it because there's somebody that's going to call you on it?
Well, there is a trace of what you say on the internet, so
yes.
You can't pretend you didn't say it. Yes, no, it's important. Transparency is, but it's a double-edged sword. So yeah. It's a word that something that keeps you accountable, but it's also something that we need to start or understand using in a more precise way. Transparency is not a medicine for all cure.
Listen, I cover a lot of CEOs. I cover government entities. How can a thought leader or an official, whatever, what advice could you give them?
So to be mindful that most of private businesses, they focus on what is legally compliant, and that's sufficient, but that's necessary, but it's not sufficient. These days, especially when you have a private companies which is building on reputation, users, consumers, people, they expect more. They trust you, they trust your service, they trust their private information with your service. So you need to behave in a better way, in an ethical way. Legal is not enough.
That's interesting. There's the impact side, the corporate social responsibility side.
Indeed.
And we're seeing a lot more of it. We're seeing adoption, for like the UN SDGs across the board. We're seeing humanitarian efforts and companies stepping up. But when it comes down to the consumer, it's a gray line with corporate between profit and humanitarian or profitability.
Well, it is, but it's also true that in this age that we see a shift in the dynamics. So 10, 15 years ago, you would have said that profit and ethics didn't go hand in hand, and they weren't necessarily consistent or coherent. These days, what we learn from, for example, Cambridge Analytica scandal, is that ethics helps business, helps profit, because if you behave in an ethical way, well, your reputation will grow and your profit will grow. And the backlash of overlooking ethical aspects can be so deep and so harmful that some businesses might be actually out of the market for good. So ethics is not just about what you should not be doing. Ethics also tells us what you should be doing for being in a better position yourself. So it's not necessarily that the two things, business and ethics or business and profit, are like enemies, sorry.
Do you think that the greatest, let's say, triple bottom line ROI would be loyalty? Ethics does translate to loyalty, brand loyalty?
I think brand loyalty is a part of ethics. I think that ethics translate in much more than just loyalty. It translates into a responsible behavior. And responsibility has to do with your users and the value of the users as well. So in corners of the world where, for example, environmental sustainability is becoming a value, you need to also embrace those values as well. For some sorts of businesses, this is becoming increasingly more relevant.
Now, how is Humanity 2.0 interacting with what you're doing?
Well, first thing was amazing to know that there's going to be a business ethics course launched somewhere, so exactly to teach these kind of things. And that was an amazing thing to learn about. But it's also important because I like the name of this meeting. Technologies these days are changing the way we understand humanity, the way we understand ourselves, and the way we interact with each other and with the environment. So this meeting today is important, especially in that regard. So it's convening a community which is asking itself, well, what does it mean to be human in this stage? How can we make sure that we flourish as humans in this age? And how we can make sure that next generations, future societies, continue to flourish on the basis that we can shape these days.
Now, coming from academia, coming out from Oxford, were you pleased to see the lineup of influencers in this room?
The world is really crowded, so there is always someone that you didn't know was there, and someone you knew was there, and you wish he wasn't there or should have been there. So it's a difficult question, this one. I won't. I would say that I was pleasantly surprised most of the time.
Good. Well, listen, we got to cut to commercial break in a minute. What can we expect from you on the panel coming up?
So I will be talking about how technologies are shaping societies and ourselves, and what is the responsibilities that we have with respect to what I call post-AI societies, so the societies that are coming, and how we can make sure that we shape a better ground for the next generations.
Well, I can tell you right now, AI is the hottest topic, I think, on the regulatory side, because what happens when that machine kicks in, and is it going to be biased, ethical, non-ethical? We have no idea. And it's a debate happening from the OECD all the way down to the Trade Department, all the way across to the UN, and then even in local governments alike worldwide, I think. So I'd love to have you come back on.
Of course.
I think we've got a lot of content between today and even going forward. We'd love to get your input on. So thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Deputy Director of Digital Ethics Lab for the University of Oxford, Rosaria Taddeo. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
You're watching the Trader Center Show. We'll be right back after this message. Don't go away.
It's great.
The 2019 Humanity 2.0 Forum is brought to you by Cisco Systems, CSR solutions that are accelerating global problem solving in ways that have never been attempted before, to Ulala, providing mobile blockchain solutions for the unbanked, and to Pledge Camp, the next generation of crowdfunding. A special thanks to Tonico in Vatican City for hosting our program. And lastly, special consideration to Burst IQ, a leader in healthcare and blockchain, to Crown Sterling, the leader in digital sovereignty and quantum encryption, to Dignity Health, delivering high quality and affordable healthcare for all. And lastly, to Falcon Ventures, is transformative as our entrepreneurs. And thank you, 1-800 Public Relations, for all your PR and media support. We'll be right back after these messages. Don't go away.